It's fight night, and today we're making a whole bunch of stuff. And for you, I am making pork belly burnt ends. My name's Angela with KamadoCook.com. Today is fight day. Big Conor McGregor fight. Anybody who's watched this before knows I'm a huge fight fan. And I am making wings, I'm making queso, and I'm making pork belly burnt ends. You've seen this before. Other people have done it. This isn't new to the world. I do it a little differently. I like my burnt ends to have some crunch. I like a little bit of char. I like some more texture. Lots of them you'll see cooked at 225, 250, something like that. And by the time you sauce it and do all these other things, they're delicious, but they're mushy. But they're delicious. I like a little bit of crunch, so I cook mine hotter, a little bit faster, and then we still wrap, we still do all the other things to get that delicious caramelization, but we also get some nice crunch in there. So we have a 10-pound pork belly from Costco. They're very easy. Most Costco's have them. This was 20 bucks. It's super cheap. All we're gonna do right now is I'm gonna cut this into cubes, little 1 inch by 1 inch cubes, 1.5 by 1.5. Doesn't need to be perfect, but we're gonna cut this into cubes. Then we're gonna load it up onto this thing. So you'll see other people do this. They'll put it on a cookie sheet, a rectangle cookie sheet. That's great if your grill is a rectangle. Mine's round. I have a Kamado. So I could either put these individually on the grill, but the problem is when you're cooking these with a live fire, I don't want to leave that lid open while I put 50 or 100 little squares on there because the fire will get too big. So that's why we like to load it up on a cookie sheet, or in this, I don't even know what this is, but it's a round grill grate, I guess. And I like to load them up on here. So I open the lid, I pop this down, and then I shut the lid and I'm done, and my fire doesn't explode. If you have a pizza screen, which I'm a giant advocate of, pizza screens will work as well. So let's get this cut up into cubes, then we'll season it, we'll load it up onto here. Quick tip while cutting, make sure the pork belly is as cold as possible. The colder it is, the easier it will cut. I took this right out of the freezer and started talking and cutting. If you take it out and it gets close to room temperature, you're gonna be sawing like crazy and the fat's gonna be soft and it's gonna be very hard to cut. The colder it is, the better. We've got our pork belly cubed. They're not perfect cubes, some are rectangles. And you can do whatever size or thickness you want. I do 1 inch by 1 inch, 2 inches by 2 inches, something like that, because this seems like a reasonable bite for an adult man, and I have friends coming over for fights. So we have these all cubed up. Now what we're gonna do is season it, and then we're gonna lay it out on our cooking sheet. So I'm using Meat Church Honey Hog. It's very sweet, and I like these to be a little sweeter. And then I'm just gonna do a touch of Voodoo, which has some spice. So I like that little combination there. So we're just gonna load this up. It doesn't need a binder. We're just gonna load it up. Mix it in my mixing bowl. You've seen other people do this like on a cutting board. The problem is the amount of seasoning you're wasting by doing it on a cutting board is insane. So I like to do it in a mixing bowl, season it, mix it all up, and when we're done and we look at the bottom, there will be no seasoning left in the bottom of the bowl. I didn't waste anything. For our pork belly burnt ends, I'm looking for anywhere from 300 to 350, and that's a big range, but we'll be okay. The reason I like to cook hotter than most is because I like some texture, some crunch. I just don't want mushy burnt ends. I want nice crunchy ones. So we've got a nice full ash basket here. This is about a 3-hour cook, and then later I'm doing wings, so I just loaded this up. And I have 4 of my fire starters in here. We're just gonna get it lit. So we've got the twills lit, my fire starters are lit. It's gonna take a few minutes for this to catch, so I like to leave my lid open for a couple of minutes. Then as I can tell, there's more than just the twills lit, I shut the lid and I open the vent wide open like this, and my bottom vent is wide open. So we'll leave this for a minute. You see I have my accessory rack in. This is for no reason other than I'm putting a pan in here to collect drippings. These are very fatty. There's gonna be a lot of gross dripping and stuff, and I don't want my I don't want my heat deflectors to completely get, you know, just gunked up. So we'll take this out for now because I have to put the heat deflectors in, but I want to show you that this is going in. So let's go inside. We'll cut up our pork belly. We'll get it seasoned. And then once this is up to temp, we'll get everything on. So we've got everything seasoned up well. You see these are fully coated. I did it in the mixing bowl. Nothing's wasted. So now we're just going to load this tray up, or this rack up. If you can leave space between them, great, so the air can get all around them and can crisp up all the sides. If it's super tightly packed, it is what it is. It's no big deal. This is very easy. It's almost mistake proof. The only thing we have to watch out for is make sure they don't burn. So I am cooking a little hotter. We'll be cooking at anywhere from 300 to 350. I think I got my grill stabilized at 325, which is perfect. Then we're gonna cook it for about 90 minutes to 2 hours. We're just gonna check on it. So you don't need a probe, you don't need any internal temp. These are gonna go way past your meat or your pork, you know, the recommended pork temp of 150 or 55. It's gonna go way past that. So you don't need a meat probe to make sure these are cooking well. This is one of the few times I'm not gonna use the meter, but we are gonna check on it to make sure that they're not burning. I do want nice crunchy outside, but obviously I don't want them to burn. So these are gonna shrink big time. There's a lot of fat on here. It's all red now, but there's a lot of fat on here. A lot of that is gonna render down and drip. So that's why I like bigger chunks, because the fat's gonna go away and they're gonna shrink. So we'll get this loaded up and then we'll go outside and we'll put them on the grill. Okay, we are at a stable 325. I have a drip pan in here because this is gonna get gross very fast. And now all we need to do is put this right on here. And it's a perfect fit. When you see people use the rectangle cookie sheet, there's a lot of grill that you can't use. This is an exact perfect fit in my Kamado Classic 2. I'll have a link in the description. We started with a little over 9 pound, almost 10 pound pork belly. There's a few pieces I didn't use because it was all fat, but we were probably left with 9 pounds. So we've got this on here. Let's close the lid. We'll check on it a bit, but this is gonna be about 2 hours like this. So the pork belly's on. It's a stable 325, and we're just gonna leave it here. I am gonna check on it in about an hour just to make sure that the temperature's not going crazy and to make sure that they're cooking well. This is either 90 minutes or 2 hours, something like that. It just really depends on how well they're getting crispy. I'm not going off any internal temperature. I'm just going off of texture. And once I get a little bit of char and once I see that outside sort of crunched up a bit, that's when I'm gonna take them out. We're gonna load them into another tray. We'll add butter, we'll add sugar, we'll add some sauce, and it's really gonna get nice and tacky, but it'll maintain some of that crunch. Obviously, we'll lose a bunch because it's coated in liquids, but we'll still maintain some of that crunch, which is what I love personally. So that tray I put in there, it's perfect. It fits the whole grill. I said before, but I'll link it in the description because I do these very often. Tonight is fight night. It's Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier. If you've seen this channel before, you know I am a die-hard fight fan. Personally, I think Dustin Poirier wins, so this is now locked in forever if I'm wrong. But we make these often, and that's why I like that giant tray. It holds these really well. I basically have max capacity in there. If you wanted to do more, so I couldn't use all of the pork belly, but if you wanted to do more, you can put the grill expander on top of this and really add a whole nother layer. So we're just gonna let this go. I'm gonna come back in 1 hour just to check. I don't spray. Some people will spray them and keep them moist. I don't want that. I want the outside to be crispy. I don't want it to be soft. So I'm not gonna spray. I will come back. I'll make sure they're cooking well. I'll check on it in an hour, and then after an hour, depending where we are, I'll check back every 20 minutes or so. So you'll see me in about an hour, and then once these are ready, we'll wrap and we'll go from there. So it's been a little over an hour. Let's go ahead and give these a quick check. Yeah, these look fantastic. So they're not quite where I like them. I need a little more crust. You see here, we got a little bit of crust on that one. I need a little more sort of crunch in general. So I'm gonna let these go a little longer. This texture here, I want this texture everywhere. So we'll give this another 15, 20 minutes or so. You can hear the bubbling. That is all of the fat inside the drip pan. So if I didn't put that drip pan in here, this would be pretty gross to clean up tomorrow. So just gonna close this lid and we'll come back in a bit. And when this texture's ready, we'll take them off. It's been 2 hours. These are done. So let's take a quick look. I mentioned earlier I like these crispy. So look at these. Look at this texture. Look at this nice little half a crust we're forming. A few of the odd shaped ones like this one. We got some char on there. That's still going to be delicious. But, you know, that's just what happens when you're cooking with fire. So anyway, these have a nice, great little crust. They're going to be nice and crispy. And now we're going to move them into this tray. And I'm going to put some other stuff on there. So come over here. We'll load this into the tray. We'll get it covered and we'll put it back on. All right, we have the pork belly loaded into our tray. And now let's put a bunch of ingredients in there before I tent it. We've got everything in our tray. I want to add a few different things. First, I'm going to hit it with some rub. So before we did sweet, so I'm not going to do too much here, but before we did the Meat Church Honey Hog, super sweet across the board. And this is going to add a little bit of spice. Now I'm going to put some butter in here. Just to add some richness. No such thing as too much. Just don't tell my doctor. And then we are going to throw barbecue sauce on here. I'm doing Stanley's Famous Pit barbecue sauce. This is in like every grocery store. Nothing, no wild secret here. I just happen to like it. So let's just get some barbecue sauce on here. And we're gonna hit them again when they come off. So I don't need to drown them just yet. And now we cover it with foil. Let's go ahead and get it back on the grill. All right, so before I put this other tray back on, look what's going on inside of here. This is why I did the drip tray. Look at all of that fat and it burned up, and you want to keep your grill clean just because you don't want flare-ups and crazy stuff like that. So let's get this back on. So we've got that on there. I don't need to adjust the temperature. I'm not gonna mess with the grill. As soon as I close that lid, it's gonna go right back to 325, exactly where it was cooking this whole time, and that's where we're gonna keep it. It is gonna stay like this, tented in the foil for 1 hour. After that, I'm gonna open it up and take a look. I may be done, or I may take the tin foil off and then put it back on again to open air for 15 or 20 minutes. But we'll check back in 1 hour and we'll see how these are coming along. Big fight tonight. I'm pulling for Dustin Poirier, which is why I'm wearing this shirt. This has been in the Kamado for 1 hour covered in tin foil, so there's time for them to come off. But first, I want to take a quick peek. Should be wearing gloves, but it's fine. Yeah, these look outstanding. Look at that. We have some nice crust remaining. So now what we're going to do is, actually, I'm just going to leave these here. We'll do a quick drizzle just to get a nice little glaze going. And we're going to leave these just like this and then come back in 15 or 20 minutes, and then we are 100% done. We are done. So the whole process took about 3 hours, 3 hours and 20 minutes. So we cubed up some pork belly. Then we went ahead and seasoned it. We put it on the Kamado at 325 for 2 hours. Then we took it off. We put all of those now 2 hour cooked cubes into a tin foil tray. We added barbecue sauce, we added barbecue rub, and we added butter. We tented that in tin foil and we put it back on the smoker at the exact same temperature for 1 more hour. Then I came back, I took the tin foil off. We added just a touch of barbecue sauce just to get it nice and tacky. It's been about 20 minutes and now we're 100% done. So let's see what we have. So these look absolutely outstanding. Ah, look at these. Just look at this toothpick go right in and out. So these are perfect. They say you want probe tender, and that's exactly what these are. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take these off, and then I'm gonna let them rest inside, and then we'll go ahead and dig in a few. All in all, these are a great cook. It's super easy. They're absolutely delicious. I have people coming over for fights, and this is a staple for fights, for football and things like that. Let me see if I can eat one. I'm gonna I'm gonna burn the hell out of my mouth. But I gotta try it. Terrible idea eating it right off there, but oh my God, is that amazing. So if you don't know, this pork belly is what they use to make bacon. So this tastes like sugared candied bacon with a little bit of crunch, and it just dissolves. I can't explain it. It's unbelievable. Give it a try, super easy. No matter what grill you have, follow the exact same process. If you like this video, subscribe. Comment down below if you do it differently or have any other questions, and I'll be back again with some more cooks. Check us out at KamadoCook.com, and we'll talk to you soon.